Bang! Neeves Knives. I'm Jared, and this is the top 25 budget knives of the year. 25 budget knives of 2021. Now, all these knives are going to be $60 and under. Most are under $50 or right around the $50 range or less, but they are all under $60. Now, we're going to start this list off with the small knives, and I will have my top 10 in this video. Starting this off with the KUBEY KU122. This is an amazing little detail knife, super smooth. The reverse flick is crazy easy. It's so easy to flick this or slow roll it or thumb flick it. Very fidgety, but this little blade is basically a little detailing knife. I would put this in the category of like the best detailing knife you can buy, especially for around the $50 range. It is really, really good. You can do straight lines very easily. It's nice and compact. Deep carry clip, T8 hardware, D2 steel, and yeah, great knife. Next is the CIVIVI Nox. This was their first stainless steel frame lock. Actually, it was their first frame lock. So it is a very tiny knife though, nice and compact, basically about the size of the Kershaw Leak. Hollow ground drop point blade in Nitro V steel. Now, these were originally more than $60, but you can find them for about 56 bucks if you look around. That's why it made it to this category. Otherwise, it wasn't going to make it. Great flipping action, and it is a steel frame lock. T8 construction with a deep carry clip that is reversible. They do have a blacked out version of this one, and it is a great slicer, nice and thin behind the edge. Great just all around, you know, little EDC knife. Next, the FERUM Forge PROLIX. Now, this one did come out at the end of 2020, but I put it on the list because it was like December of 2020 or something like that. It was like at the very, very end of 2020. So I allowed it in the category for the 2021 knives. It has a flipper, and it is in Nitro V steel, liner lock, very, very smooth, great flipping action, and it is nice and compact, nice small little package, but it has a nice deep carry inset clip, not reversible, but this is a really, really good clip. And this will work out good for both righties and lefties aside from the clip. Oh, and you can get these for $59, so right at that point. Now, here is a non-locking knife, the CRKT SYMMETRY. Now, this is only an 8CR 13 MOV steel, but for what it's for, I don't think that's a problem. We have a steel frame here, deep carry clip that works very well, and it has a nice look to it. You know, when it's hanging out of your pocket, you can put a lanyard on it. Great flipping action, and then it's just a double detent, so you just have to push the blade, but it's very easy to snap open. It looks like a front flipper, and you can do it. You just kind of got to drag it back. But nice and slicey, super thin blade, very thin hollow grind. And that's what I mean. This is just going to be, for opening things up, very light duty use. So I don't think it's a big deal that it's 8CR. I think it's like 34 bucks. Next, the mini BEGLIETER by Kizer. Now, the BEGLIETER originally came out a couple years ago, but they got the BEGLIETER 2 that they came out with the large version and the mini. So this is the mini. Now, this one is in 4V and aluminum, and it's like $109, but the micarta and N690 version is a little over 50 bucks. Stupid smooth. And I do think that there was enough changes on this knife to put it on the list for 2021. Now, if there would have been barely any changes, I wouldn't have put it on the list. I put it on the list because it is very different from the original. I had them both. I had the large and the small from the first batch, and the number 2 is just so much better. The action is so snappy. One of the best knives on thumb studs. Kizer killed their detents in 2021, and they, in my list, they got the best drop shutty action in 2021 because they are ultra smooth. These very light blades are fall shut action. Now, this one is very slicey, nice little detailing knife, works really good, very compact and small, and it is a nice small knife, but man, does this thing work great as an EDC knife. Deep carry clip. And the micarta on the budget version is really, really nice. Very nice micarta. And last, for the small knives, we have the baby banter, the CIVIVI baby banter. Very tiny little knife, but even though it's so small, you can get a full 4-finger grip because of this forward finger choil. We have Nitro V steel. Very good steel for this price range. And the blade, it is only, I don't even think it's 2 inches of cutting length, so it is a very compact little blade, but that's kind of the beauty of this thing. It's like a 5th pocket knife, T8 construction with titanium hardware that is hardened. Deep carry clip that's reversible, very good clip, inset with flat screw, so nothing's going to get in the way when you're putting it in the pocket. Titanium thumb studs, and this comes in multiple different options for different colors. Awesome little knife. I do really like this one, and I'm not like a huge fan of the tiny knives. I'm not saying I don't like them, but that one's a really good one. I do enjoy that one a lot. Now we're going to talk about the budget of the budget. The budget of the budget. So basically like the most affordable knives you can get that are basically the best. And these are pretty much full size. We have the GANZO. This GANZO is a spear point blade, beautiful blade shape for EDC, very neutral ergo, super comfortable in the hand, and it is in D2 steel, and these you can get them for under 30 bucks. Under $30. Deep carry wire clip. These clips are like the best clips you can use for function wise, and it is reversible, and they have a little filler tab, a little extra there, you know, it's really nice. The flipping action feels like a high-end knife. It really does. The flipper tab is so comfortable, snaps out so good, and the blade is such a good functioning blade shape and grind. Works so good. Very drop shutty. It is on ceramic caged bearings. And yeah, you would think this is way more money than what it is. Access to the lock bar is really good. Super good knife. The SITIVIEN knives. Now I have 2 of them here. We have the ST102 and the ST103. I think that's the way it goes. I'll put them up on the screen either way. This one's my favorite one out of the 2 because, well, one, I really love this blade shape. The choil is really nice, good sharpening choil. These are in D2 steel. The grind is really nice. Great ergos. They cut really good. And the lock bar access, very, very nice, very easy. And the flipper tab on this one is so comfortable. It's so snappy, this detent. Like, you know, like the GANZO, it feels like high-end action. Very nice and drop shutty, very, very smooth, and it works great. Deep carry clip, and these are like 25 bucks. 25 bucks, that's crazy. Now this one's very similar, D2 steel, similar grind, just a different blade shape. This is going to be more for utility use. Great access to the lock bar. This one's a lot more drop shutty. The flipper tab isn't as comfortable on this one, but it's still, the detent is still extremely well tuned. Deep carry clip, it's not reversible, but for like 25 bucks, man, this is like an ultimate work knife. A knife you could just throw around the job site and never worry about. The SENCUT HONORIS. Now, this is an amazing budget knife. These, I believe you can get them for right around 40 bucks. This one has dark green micarta, and for the money, this is decent micarta. Beautiful drop point blade, almost a spear point, so it's going to be really good for just about everything. Nice and slicey too, very slicey. These are made by Knives or CIVIVI knives, so you know their grinds are good. They do a good job with their heat treats. Access to the lock bar is good. Very smooth on the drop. Nice flipping action. And reverse flicking action, so you can also thumb flick it. Deep carry clip that is reversible, and the clip works great. T8 construction all the way around except for the clip. Fantastic knife. This is a great bang for your buck. Now, probably my favorite of the ultra budgets is the SENCUT ACTIUM. This belongs with the top 10 hitters, and I say that very comfortably. It is an extremely good knife. D2 steel. So was, I forgot to say, this one's in 9CR, by the way. All the new ones came in 9CR. I forgot to say that. They also come in a Damascus too, which SENCUT or CIVIVI's Damascus is very, very, very good. Now, this one's in D2 steel. Beautiful, deep hollow grind. Super duper slicey. Nice drop point blade that's almost a harpoon because you have this little placement right here. The jimping is very, very nice. Beautiful finger choil. You can get up nice and tight to the blade for those push cuts. Now the ergos even back here is very, very comfortable. It's not quite a neutral grip, but it feels extremely comfortable, and you can easily turn it around and, you know, cut backwards. It's not as comfortable, but you can do it. We have a reversible deep carry clip with T8 construction all the way around. Access to the lock bar is very, very nice. The thumb studs are placed in the most perfect spot you can put thumb studs. They could not have put them in a better place as I fumble it. Awesome action on this. Stupid good action, and the flipping action is also equally as good. The detent is super well tuned. This is hard to beat. Let me just say that. Very hard to beat as a tool, as a functioning, good action, good cutting tool. Because of this finger choil, you're going to be able to sharpen it for a long time without it affecting the geometry. All right, now we're going to move on to the XL knives, the big knives that are under $60. Heck, I think they're all under 50. No, let's just get into them. So, for $25, the RUIKE D191 extra large knife. This is a big knife, and let me just show you. All these knives are right around the same size, and you can see it's a big knife. But this is a full-size knife, by the way. This is like 8 inches, 3.5-inch blade right here. So these are all right around 4-inch blades. Maybe a little less, but nice, thin, and compact. It is very slim, but it is only an 8CR. However, this is very, very slicey. I mean, this thing cuts like a beast. It has needle bearings, so it's actually rolling on needle bearings, which is awesome for this price. You never see needle bearings on a price like this. Flipping action is amazing, and because of the needle bearings, you don't feel the bearings rolling. It's very, very smooth. Access to the lock bar is really good. Steel frame lock, not a deep carry clip, but being a big knife, it's nice being able to grip it and, you know, be able to pull it in and out of your pocket very easily, and the clip does work great. Awesome, awesome knife right here for the money. Next, the Kizer Justice. Fantastic work knife. I would put this in the category of a large work knife. Now, the access to the lock bar is really, really nice. Very smooth on the drop. Like I said, Kizer killed it with the drop shutty action this year. Very, very smooth. Now, we have a glass breaker on the back. Stainless steel polished backspacer or geared backspacer. N690 steel. Beautiful drop point, satin blade. It does come in multiple options. It also has one with serrations. This is a titanium deep carry clip. I don't like that the screws pop up, but it works just fine. Flipping action and detent is very, very well tuned. So super good action. Now the coated blades are not as false shutty as the satin blades at first, but they do smoothen out. But these satin bladed ones, man, they are ultra, ultra smooth. G10 scales, and yeah, it is so comfortable in the hand. This is a great just beater knife. This is a great, great beater knife. Next. Now, the KUBEY Nova originally came out last year or the year before in a titanium frame lock version. I did have it. I did review it. This is the budget version that came out basically exactly a year ago. So it was pretty much 2021 when it dropped. Now, we have amazing access to the lock bar, nice and smooth, very drop shutty, very comfortable flipper tab. These are like my favorite flipper tabs because you can push button them or light switch them very comfortably. You're going to see that flipper tab again. Beautiful sharpening choil. This is exactly how a sharpening choil should be. Nice and slicey. This is kind of a stone washed, and it is D2 steel, so it's better than a bead blast, but it is kind of a bead blast too. So either way, it is a very budget knife. Beautiful drop point blade that's going to be easy for utility cuts, slicing, and push cuts. The grip is extremely comfortable. Reversible deep carry clip that has T8 construction all the way around. I believe the pivots are T10 though, actually. So awesome buy here, especially as just a large work knife. These aren't necessarily XLs, but they're large for sure. Now, next, probably, for the large knives, this one's probably the best. We have the MIGURON VELONA. The MIGURON VELONA is in DC53 steel, which before 2021, I had never dealt with it before. It's basically like a souped up D2, and it does take a ridiculously sharp edge, and it should hold it pretty well. Some of the cut tests have shown it to be pretty good. I found it microchipping a little bit, but I don't think it's something that's going to be a big deal. It could have been a user error, but great blade shape, good access to the lock bar, very smooth. The detent, mine came actually light, but I did adjust it, and I think all the rest of them came really good. But if it does come light, I think they're very easy to adjust. You just adjust the lock bar strength, and I'm not telling you to do that. I'm just saying what I did on mine. Now, the fuller here is very easy to get to. You can hold it low, you can hold it up high, and it's very easy. You can thumb flick it, but it feels easier to reverse flick. The ergos just melt in your hand. Titanium clip that is milled out. We have a beautiful brass pivot collar. And yeah, this is a great XL or large knife, because it's not a small knife. This is a larger size knife. All right, let's get to the top 10. Now, I'll be honest, I'm throwing one extra in my top 10. I had to do it because the Kizer Rapids belongs in the top 10. I know it's so similar to the Kizer BEGLIETER, but it's a different designer, and it is amazing. We have a G10 with a micarta, really beautiful micarta. This is very nice micarta, and it seats right in the center of the G10, so it's super comfortable in the hand. It has a nice fabric feel to it without being too absorbent. Now, the blade is 154 cm. The lock bar access is very easy, and this thing is 100% fall shut action. The thumb studs are so easy to get to. Once I get my BEGLIETER back, my large BEGLIETER back, I'll be able to really compare the two and see which one I like better. But man, this thing is so good. It is a really snappy detent while also being very fall shut. Straightforward knife, very neutral ergos, reversible deep carry clip, and it is really nice. I do really like this one. Now, let's get on with it. So we have the Kizer Horn. The Kizer Horn has beautiful micarta. This micarta feels so good in the hand. It's super soft. We have N690 steel. Now, it's ugly. I know, it's very ugly. But it has a little thing to it that none of the knives on this list have, which is a removable flipper tab. Now, I don't have it on right now, but the flipping action is amazing. It works so good. Now, this also, aside from having some of the best flipping action on a budget knife, it has the best reverse flicking action. You really can't beat this reverse flicking action. The detent and how smooth this is, it's so hard to beat. We have a reversible deep carry clip, T8 construction all the way around aside from the clip, and this thing is so good. It's ugly, but man, is it good. And it is a nice little detailing utility knife. So if you want a knife that's just great at utility cuts, this is a fantastic option. And like I said, if you want the flipper tab on it, the flipping action is amazing, but you don't need it. Next, the KANSEPT KRYO. Now, this is the micarta version, burlap micarta. And we have D2 steel. Now, there is a titanium version of this. There's a mini. They have lots of versions of the KRYO. Very comfortable in the hand. Deep carry clip, but it's not reversible. T8 construction all the way around, except for the clip. And it is nice and smooth. Reverse flicking action is really good. Now, these are not in no particular order, just FYI. But the top 5, we'll go through them a little bit better. Awesome, awesome knife here. The KANSEPT KRYO. Tiny little bit of recurve there, but it does take a really good edge, and it is a great, great cutting tool. Next, the CIVIVI BRAZEN. Now, the CIVIVI BRAZEN surprised me a lot. It is such, I know it just looks like a knife, and that's kind of its downfall. There's nothing extravagant looking about it, but that's the beauty behind it. It is very, very good. Flipping action, great detent. Thumb stud action, super good. Ergos, amazing. Deep carry clip that is reversible. T8 construction all the way around. Now, one of the biggest beauties on this knife is it is in CIVIVI's 14C28N that they did a fantastic heat treat on. It takes a nasty sharp edge and it holds it really well. Very easy to strap. My favorite budget steel is 14C, so I was really excited to see CIVIVI using it, and this comes in multiple different options, but what a great knife. Next, we have the KUBEY KU321. Now, it's hard not putting this, and actually the next one, on the top 5, because, you know, when you're trying to pick your top 5, it's difficult, you know, when you have knives that you like just as much as another one. So in all reality, I could swap this one and the next knife with most of the top 5. D2 steel that is bead blasted. That's probably one of the reasons why it was held back a little bit. But neutral grips that are super comfortable, man. This thing is so comfortable in the hand, and the blade shape is great for EDC. You can get up nice and close to the blade. Nice utility cuts, great for slicing and push cuts. The access to the lock bar is really good, and KUBEY knocked the detent out of the park this year. This detent is so well tuned, very good on the front flipping action. Now, I do wish that they would have brought the jimping, or I'm sorry, I like how they brought the jimping all the way up to the top, but I wish they would have wrapped it around. But it still doesn't matter on this one because they brought it all the way up to the top, which is at least, you know, really good. Now, it has a reversible deep carry clip, T8 construction with a T10 pivot, and it's very good lefty too. CM designs, and CM designs I just learned about this year, but fantastic knife. Next, another KUBEY, and this is another one, man. I could have put this on the top 5. It's just such a good knife. D2 steel, the front flipping action is so easy, it's very good. And the reverse flick, the detent is nice and strong, but you have so much leverage. Good access to the lock bar, nice and drop shutty. I really like this one. The ergos are so good in this grip, and you have a little spot to choke up. My one downfall is it's a little bit more belly than I would like, but it's so good. It's such a good knife. I really like this one so much. Same thing, T8 construction. I believe it's a T10 pivot on this one. I didn't take this one apart, but great knife. Now, for the top 5. Top 5, here we come. We got the Petrified Fish Beluga. Yep, it made it in the top 5. It is that good for the price. It's hard to beat, man. Blew micarta on this one. They have other versions of micarta. We have D2 bead blasted steel. Yes, I wish it was a better steel, but the cutting performance kind of outweighs the bad on this because the ergos are so good. It's contoured, super comfortable in the hand. You know, I have a large size glove, or I wear a large size glove, so This just melts in my hand. I love it. It push cuts so good. It slices so good. The action is amazing on it. This fuller is nice and sharp, so it's super easy to reverse flick or thumb flick. And most fullers you can't thumb flick very easily. Now, the front flipping action isn't the best, but it's still very easy. I just wish they would have knocked these corners down. Reversible deep carry clip that works incredibly well. Incredibly well. And this is very easy to use left-handed. Next, the Kizer Towser K. Now, this is the only knife in this entire video that's not mine. I would have one if I could get one, but I tried to buy one. I thought I bought one, but I didn't for whatever reason. But it does come in a micarta version, and this is in 154 cm. Very slicey because of this tall flat grind. Great for utility cuts, great for slicing. The ergos are really nice. It does have a reversible deep carry clip, but it has T6s. The action is absolutely insane. The Kizer is just killing it this year with their thumb stud action. It's so good, and it's 100% fall shut action. And another thing that makes it really good, look at how early that detent is. You're always past the detent. That is so satisfying. You never fumble with the detent on this thing. And you can get up nice and tight to the blade by putting your middle finger right there and then using the jimping right there, because they put it right there to really lock you in. This is a fantastic knife. And if it had a hole in it, it would probably be number one. You know what? Actually, if it was a little bit different blade shape, I love this blade shape, but I couldn't put this one in number one. But it does have an adjustable clip that you can put higher or lower. You see the 3 holes, so you can have it lower or higher, which is really nice. But what a great knife. All right, the last 3 on the list. Oh man, it's so tough. The KUBEY KU 322, I believe. I hate the numbers. Man, is this such a good knife. Such a good knife. It's kind of like a budget Koenig Arius, and I'll be honest, this thing would be number one right now if it was in a different steel. If it was 14C28N, it would be in number one. So just know that it is that good. It is such a great knife. It cuts so good. It is a little broad because it's not really thick, but it is thick enough. You have such a good grip. But when you're really bearing down, you can feel this corner a little bit, but it doesn't really matter. You can do utility cuts, a little bit more belly than I prefer, but still really good. Great slicing, nice tall grind, flat ground blade, but it is a bead blasted D2. Access to the lock bar is so good. It is fall shut action, and it has that flipper tab I was talking about. Such a comfortable flipper tab that works so good. The reverse flicking action is also amazing, and you can easily thumb flick it. We do have a reversible deep carry clip. Then the rest of the screws are on T8s, except for the pivot, which is T10. Damn it, this is a good knife. Such a solid knife. It's hard to beat a knife like this. Now, the top two knives are... Yep, it made it into the top 5. And I don't care about not having a deployment option. This is the CIVIVI ELEMENTUM button lock. But the thing is it doesn't have a deployment option. You have to push the button. So you push the button and swing it out and let go. So you push the button and you just let it go. So when you close it, it is locked in place. So you can't put thumb studs on it. But what I can do is I can push the button and I can flick it and let go. And I'm very good at it, especially once you get used to it. But you usually just flick it with your wrist. But the reason why this is so good, because the action's amazing. You know, I do enjoy this, but I would enjoy it way more with a deployment option. That's 100% true. I'd love it way more if it had a deployment option. But It's such a great user. Their 14C28M blade steel is so good. The heat treated, it's so good. And this is one of the best grinds I've ever seen CIVIVI do. It is super deep, a nice hollow grind, very thin behind the edge, 15 thousandths behind the edge. Blade stock thickness is nice and thin. It cuts like a beast. And the tip is it's a spear point blade. Some people would call it a drop point, but I'd call it a spear point because the tip lines right up with the center of the pivot, and the spine and the edge do the exact same thing. Very easy to do the utility cuts, so it is such a versatile blade shape. You can slice with it, push cut with it. The ergos are so comfortable in my hand. I love how this thing feels. I love the look. In all honesty, I could put this in #1 right now. The only reason why I didn't is because of the deployment option. That's it. This would be absolutely #1. And as a button lock, I have no blade rock at all. This thing has been so solid for me. Reversible deep carry clip, T8 construction. This one is in the olive green micarta, but it does come in other options. Man, this is a good knife. Great sharpening choil, so good, so easy to sharpen, and they did such a good job with their 14C. I did a control cut test, and it did phenomenal. Now, #1 knife of the year is the CIVIVI RIFFLE. Like I said, this would be #1 if it had a deployment option. Now, such a good knife. Same micarta, the olive green, but it comes in multiple different options. 14C28N, that's, you know, if it would have been D2, we'd be switching these two knives right now. Fantastic cutter. Takes a nasty sharp edge with this great heat-treated 14C. Good access to the lock bar, and another reason why it got #1 is this reverse flicking action is so good. So snappy. The detent on the flipper is really, really good. Super smooth on the drop. Reversible deep carry clip. T8 construction all the way around. Super snappy detent. They tuned the detent really nice. Now, I did feel one that had a very light detent, but mine is incredible. So I did have to put in this sharpening choil, so that almost took it off the list. That literally almost took it off the list because they did not put a sharpening choil. So you're warned, CIVIVI. This is a warning. Next year, if you want to be top dog, you better start fixing these choils. I don't know what happened to you on some of the knives this year. This one is great. Look at this one. The CIVIVI Brazen. Why do you think it's all the way back here? Why do you think it didn't make it in the top 5? This would be in the top 5 if they just would have did the choil right. I did get one good sharp, no, maybe 2 edges out of it, but you can see I'm about to hit the plunge grind. I don't like that. I would way rather see a good sharpening choil. The other knives on the top 5 were not necessarily perfect, but they were better than this. So there's no reason why I didn't knock this one down. But I did put in my own choil, which was very easy to do because there's nothing blocking me. But man, such a good knife. Love this knife. Great ergos, melts in your hand, super good slicer. The tip, a little bit higher than I prefer, but it's still easy to get to. I do enjoy using this one, a bit more, with cutting and utility cuts. And it's so good when you can just take it out of your pocket, snap it out, do your cut, snap it back in your pocket. It's very fast to use. Now, this button lock, I don't know how tough it is. I did not test its strength, and I might do that actually in a video. I might actually test this button lock strength, but the CIVIVI RIFFLE got #1. So there you guys go. I love you guys. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.